Well, hello everybody and welcome back here on Eiersholt farm. It has turned summer. It is creeping up in temperature. We got 15 degrees now. As you'll have seen before we kind of got properly started today, we are putting some herbicide onto the canola field. It's starting to look pretty much ready, but it'll still be a little bit of time before it fully grows out. But we are going to be hopping in. We're going to be heading over to the forest. As I mentioned in the last episode, we've done quite a bit of forestry up at the back of the farm area here, and we're going to be heading over because now it is time to replant some of that forest. I'm just going to hop into the car here, have a little bit of a better view as we head up. So our wheat's looking good. Everything's looking pretty good actually. We've more or less gotten on top of all the fertilizing. I have done some spraying for herbicide on fields in between. We got oat standing here. It's looking pretty decent as well. Down at the back we've been up to the garden centre and ordered a load of saplings, and we're going to be putting some of them in down here today to try and regrow the forest. Obviously that is going to take several years, but we made a good profit out of what has been cut down, and we're going to replant so that eventually one day we might profit from it again. But we're almost there now, and down here just got a little logging area there. And coming down the field here, we should have our truck and our 6R. I bought the planter to get the trees planted because my intention is at some point that we got a fair stack of money. I think we should be able to maybe buy the forestry area over here. If we just check we're not going to get run down here. Nope. So there's some forestry area down there that I think might be quite good for our next investment, because logging has been quite a profitable kind of winter activity. So we did a little test trial here. So with seasons, the optimum spacing from absolute maximum yield in terms of biggest trees, I think is 10 meters if I'm not much mistaken, but there's a balance between growth rate and spacing as well. So I've set it to 8. That probably still means we're waiting, I don't know, 3 or 4 years before, but we're not necessarily going to take them to maximum size. We might cut them down a little bit earlier. So let's get into the 6R and let's see if we can get another pallet on here. I think I just have to unclip them or take the tension belts off over here. So we'll get one of the boxes on. So the slightly fiddly bit is I kind of ran a line down along the hedges there, but now we have to try and find sort of the right spacing on the next row here. I reckon something like this. Try and put it in. Just take it nice and easy. This isn't the fastest of jobs, but we are putting little saplings in. Now the problem is they might be a little bit too close. I'm not quite sure because obviously we are running 8 meters spacing in the planter, but that's just along the lines where we're planting, and if they end up being too close to the trees that I've already put in, then obviously they are not going to keep growing for the same amount of time. So we might see a little bit of variation in sizes, but this is a few years into the future before we really see the fruits of our labors. But I think it's worth doing. Get these trees in, and who knows, if we keep this series going for a long time, maybe we'll come back here and we'll be able to take a new cut of trees. But for now, there's quite a few to get planted here. obviously we got the whole other side of the field as well. There's really only a few areas up the top there, right next to the phone mast, where we didn't cut down all the trees, so we still got to try and kind of make it up the hill here. But that is us done with another box. So I don't know how long our load on the truck there is gonna last us. We'll see how it goes. We do have another job or two to be getting on with today. The grass field close to the farm does need to be cut. It is well and truly ready, and I think if we want any chance of a second cut to come out of it, then we gotta start taking that cut today. The other option we have now is there's a new mod out for Global Company that allows us to lease fields. So I am seriously tempted to see if we can bump up our field area by leasing. It's going to cost us a bit in daily charge, but from what I gather so far, it looks like it should kind of normalize itself for seasons. So the original figures that were included in the mod descriptions is for the vanilla game, and if you lease the field through while running seasons, you're not going to be paying 20% upfront free and 3% rate per day, because if you do that with seasons, you'd basically get paid for the field by the time you've had it for 1 year. So we might have a look at it. I haven't actually leased anything yet, but the key jobs to be getting on with right now is to get some more trees in the ground and to get some grass cutting underway. The grass that we're going to be cutting today is all going to be going for hay. It's going to go into the drying plant, and we'll see if we can get a decent top up there. We got a bit sitting there already, but wow, these boxes are going pretty quick, aren't they? But that's 20 trees each time, and knowing what they can fetch over at the sawmill when they're fully grown, I think it's still a good investment here. So we'll get a little bit more trees put in the ground, and then we'll head over and start getting wagons ready for doing some cutting, getting a Class Jaguar back out, and we'll see how we get on. I'll do one more box here, just to begin with, trying to cover a little bit more up the hill here. Alright, so I have to be a bit careful driving in between the saplings now, but we are putting the forest back into play, at least a little bit. So I'm probably going to be finishing doing the replanting here off screen, but I think as we can see, just sort of covering this foot of the hill here, we've used up 1, 2, 3 boxes, so we have a decent amount here. I think we're going to be putting all of these trees in across this area, but I'm not convinced that we're going to need a whole lot more. But we're almost already up at lunchtime, so better get back up to the farm, get the Jaguar and the forage wagons ready so we can get this grass cut underway as well, get some more hay made for the farm. And as I mentioned in the last episode, we're also going to be checking in on the animals, but we're actually going to be sort of skipping over the night and then coming in and doing the morning duties that I normally do, but kind of tend to skip from the recording because it'll get too repetitive if you saw that in every episode. But we got new pigs on the farm, so it'll be a good opportunity just to check in on what's going on there. So we're just going to park up by the big machine shed here. This is where we kind of keep all of our self-propelled machinery. Obviously we got the two harvesters, the Titan and the Liber over there. So we are going to get into our Jaguar again. It did cost a pretty penny, but to be honest, I think it is going to be making itself back fairly quickly in terms of the investments we've made. Right, okay. I put my silage roller and shield in front of the header, so we just got to get that moved first. Right, so I'm into the T7 with the least number of hours on. I'm starting to kind of keep an eye on the number of hours we're putting on each of the tractors here, just so that we try and balance it out. I think we will need to start looking into another tractor of a decent size soon, especially for kind of ground preparation, cultivating, and to some extent maybe also plowing, although that's not as critical. But it would be nice to be able to get a bigger cultivator than the one we currently have, to be able to process some of the fields, because it's quite large fields around here, and as we are expanding, and if we are able to also lease an extra field today, then obviously we will have more work to do come autumn time. So we can finally get the header onto the Jaguar, and we can get this T7 over and we can get this T7 over and get it refueled to begin with, because it is down in a range that we don't need if we're going to be running grass most of the rest of the day here. It might take well into the evening before we're done, so we'll get the T7 refueled and get the header on, and we'll get the other T7 out, and then we can basically get on with this job. We got our cutter onto the Jaguar, and we can head more or less straight over to the field. It's not a terribly busy road, so although it's a wide-ish header, I think we should be okay. So that's the first of our forage wagons on their way. I'll hop into the T7 and follow over so we can get going on getting this grass in, get it dried, so we've got plenty of hay in storage as well. That's our first full load. We've made it about halfway around first headland pass, so there's quite a lot of grass on this field. This is the smaller of the forage wagons, 34,000 litres, but nonetheless it is going to be a fairly big job to get this field cleared out, and I'm going to get it all up and running into the grass dryer and turn it into hay. So we'll be automating this later on, but we're just going to take the first load back here. It's not a long way back to the farm at all, so we can run these fairly quick, at least. We're going to head around to the drying plant that we bought quite a few episodes back now. It was a big investment, but again, it has made life an awful lot easier for us. It takes the sort of stress aspect out of making hay. We simply bring in grass, take it around the back of the pigs here. That's our new breeding pigs. They seem to be settling in quite well, all 54 of them. But we're coming around to the plant here, and we just got to get it switched on, get the unloading area unfolded, and then we will be ready. So we got 353,000 litres of hay already, but we are going to get some more loaded in today. So obviously this first time around we kind of have to drive out on the grass that hasn't been cut yet, but once we've done this first headland round, we should be able to keep in on the area where the Jaguar has already been cutting. That is us full on the second load, so we better get this one back to the farm. Now, last time we had a lot of problems because we were trying to use Courseplay to run back to the farm, but now that we got the auto drive functionality, we're going to try and see, just out of interest, if we can now get our T7 here. So let's see, we're not going to buy points, we are going back to Eiersholt farm. So if we take it to the pig slurry point, that's down the side of the pigs, and then we can carry around the back afterwards. So we'll see if our T7 is gonna find its way to the pig slurry. And in the meantime, of course, we can get back into the 8R and get on with collecting some more grass. So we're kind of settling back into the routine of grass cutting work now. We did that only a couple of episodes ago when we were making the silage, and obviously since we're now using forage wagons to bring the grass down to a dryer for the hay, this isn't terribly different, so I'm not gonna sort of record the whole field getting cut here. I'm gonna get that done off screen, and because in this episode I'm gonna skip over the night and then we're gonna meet up in the morning, so we can get the animal duties done and see how all the animals are doing here on Eiersholt. We'll see how much made it into the grass dryer. We also got some more saplings to get planted in the forest, but we'll see. This, I have a feeling this grass cutting might actually take most part of the day, so we might have to go back to planting saplings tomorrow instead, but that's not a big issue. But I'll crack on with this, and then I'll see you bright and early in the morning. Well, good morning in the middle of an episode. It's a little bit unusual. Most of the time we tend to start at the beginning of the day and kind of run forward, but here we've kind of skipped. We got the grass cut over on field 30, and I also got all of the trees planted down in the forest. So it's now time for some morning duties, and oh god, once again we've got to get this cow and get it washed at some point. So normally I'll be heading straight up to the cows, but the hay drying plant has been running overnight, so we are just going to be popping over and seeing how that is doing before we head up and clean up the cows, top up their total mixed ration, top up their water and such like. But we'll just have a quick look here at the drying plant. I think we're at a stage where we can probably turn it off now. Yeah, there's nothing left in the intake. We're up to 855,000 litres of dried grass hay sitting in a dryer now. That is very decent. We won't need to worry about hay for a little while, which is good, because we do actually need a little bit we do actually need a little bit of hay for the TMR mixer. It's currently sitting waiting for more hay, but we have plenty of feed right now. So we'll get up and we'll get the cows sorted out first, and then we'll come down to the pigs, final little check on the chickens, and then we're also going to have a look at this field leasing, because I think I have my eyes on a farm. Here's our trusty Massey that we use as a yard tractor. It's been through good repairs, so it's just a really good tractor to have. It's maneuverable, and it can pull the feed mixer, so everything is good. Yeah, there's a bit of cleanup to do in here, but just before we get started, we'll hop out, and I'm just going to open up the help screen here, because I can see here that we're on 51% of water. So as you can see, the handle for some reason doesn't animate here. I'm not quite sure why that is, but so I tend to open the help screen just to confirm that I have actually turned the water on. I'll leave it running. It'll shut up automatically when we reach 100% water. That bucket is starting to look a little bit beaten up, but it still does the job, and we are catching the silage that is spilt on the ground here. So we still got a little bit of room for silage to just tip it back in for feed for the cows. But given that we are basically topping them up with TMR all the time, the silage is not really going down. So at some point we'll probably end up overflowing the feeding area. We might have to either dump the silage somewhere or take it down, dump it in the feed mixer or something like that. But that's the clean out cycle done, and we got water for our cows as well. So just need to check. I can't remember if we have much left sitting in the feed mixer in here. Now I just need to finagle myself into the corner. I guess I could open the other door, but it should be okay to catch it this way, even if it is at a little bit of an angle that we're coming in here. Let's see if we can just get a little bit more straight on like that. Okay, so we still have 13,000 litres in there. That should be enough for today's feed. So tomorrow we'll have to take it down to the feed mixer and get it refilled. But for today, I think 13,000 should be more than enough. There'll probably even be a little bit left, but that's okay. Set the feed running and just slowly run up the aisle here. We'll probably have filled up before we make it all the way to the end, but nonetheless. Yeah, so we've got a little bit left, just 4,000 litres, so we'll just put the feed mixer back up in the shed for now, and we can get it filled up again in tomorrow's morning duties. But that's basically the cows taken care of. I will very briefly bring up the screen so we can see how many cows we got and how things are doing. So as you can see, we now have a total of 89 cows. That's a lot of newborn cows. If I just move over, you can see that we have some very young ones, 0.1 year here, newborns, and obviously they are not fertile. But if we move down the list, we get some that are a little bit older, 0.3, they're obviously also still not, they have to go through, I think, close to a year before. Here's one of our original cattle, 3.2 year mature. Right now they're not fertile, but then they have been breeding. Here's one that was probably one of the first to give birth. So that one is actually with calf again. And we already got 6,500 liters of milk in spite of selling milk yesterday evening as well. So we're doing quite well. We started out with about 50 cows. We sold off 3 male ones. The rest should now be females. So that's not too bad. So right now, duties for the cattle are pretty light. Obviously we do need to sell milk again. Whether we do that today or we can hold off till tomorrow, that's not too big a deal. Actually, I forgot to mention, for those of you who may not have played the map, so there are 2 options over here. We normally load up with our tanker here, but there's a little display here as well, so we can actually hit that button and call the milk contractor, but they're currently not open. It is early, it's only just coming up to 6 o'clock in the morning, so wouldn't expect them to rear. But obviously we can sell our milk that way. If we don't want to take it down to the dairy ourselves, we won't make quite as much from it. So with cows out of the way, we'll head down and take a look at our new pigs that arrived recently here on Eiersholt. We got rid of the fattening pigs and we now got breeding pigs in. So first things first, we'll just park up here, head over, same as up with the cows. I'm just going to turn the screen on so that I can see that we're on 50% water. Get that filling up, and we can actually hear it here. And if we open the doors, we can see it filling in here. Here are the pigs. We'll take a quick look at them before we get the cleaning up and feeding done. So we have 54 pigs. That's the number we bought. They're all the Yorkshire pigs. Oops. And I'll move over to list the pigs now, if I can. There. So here are the pigs. Obviously we haven't cleaned them out right now, so that's why they're a bit low. They're down to about half feed. Now these came in as mature, and we can see some of them are already expecting, and the reproduction rate starts at 0.3 years. So in season terms, I am playing with a 9-day season, so 36 days times 0.3. So roughly about 3 days in season terms, so about sort of one part of a season. We should start seeing them breeding. Now I can't actually remember right now if they breed all the way through the year or not, but we will start getting piglets pretty soon. And I think to begin with, at least, we'll do the same as with the cows, where we might fatten up the males a little bit and then sell them off. We'll keep the females, try and increase the herd size. But I'm going to head down to our yellow shed here, because I keep the telehandler in here, and we're going to use that to clean out the pigs. I don't need the bag lifter right now, we just need the shovel. There might be some pig food left in the shovel from last time, which is fine, we can just dump it off. Yeah, there's about 1,000 liters, but that will fit in to the feeding trough, no problem. And we can top up a little bit more. We have our pig food mixer here. A couple of episodes ago, when we were seeding potatoes, the surplus potatoes went into this feed mix, and that enabled us to take some of the grain from silos and actually start generating some pig food. And that's basically the main reason why we are growing potatoes up on field 14 as well. They will all come back, go into that yellow shed, and be used in the pig food mixer at least. I don't know how much we're gonna get, but we'll see. So just getting the feed out first, and then we'll get the trough here cleared up for spillages, and then we'll top up the feed a bit, and then that's basically the pigs done as well. Nice and easy. So right now we are not laying down straw for any of the animals. I try to do that in a sort of, well, I don't know, not realistic way, but semi-realistic. We do it during the colder parts of the year. So into autumn and over winter, and probably also early spring, tend to lay down straw for bedding to keep the animals warmer. And obviously we generate manure that way. For the rest of the year we'll be generating slurry. We got some, but we used quite a bit recently, so that's not a problem. Now, because what we pick up in here is pig food, right now I can basically just tip it in, and we can see how they are for feed now. So we're actually already up to close to 80% of their feed, so we probably don't need an awful lot more, to be honest. We could actually leave it for today. There's no need to top them up anymore. There's more than enough. There's a little bit left there. That's annoying. See if we can get that picked up maybe. We finally got it. There's 16 liters lying right at the door, and we'll pop them in. That's us basically done. Pigs got water, they got plenty of food, and we can see that they are starting to breed already. Obviously, with seasons, all animal breeding will seemingly be by artificial insemination, but that's fine. So we are just going to park up our telehandler, get that back in the shed here. So we got the whole setup from yesterday's effort still parked here, awaiting a wash, so that's one of today's duties as well. One thing I have found out is the Jaguar is quite thirsty. We did have to refill it fuel-wise while we're doing this, but as you can see, we got a very healthy amount of grass into our hay grass dryer for some hay. So once again, 80% water. That's fine. That's the chickens topped up. They seem generally quite happy in here, pecking away, producing eggs, not at any sort of massive rate, but we're full up on chickens. I've sold off some male ones just to try and keep going on chickens that would actually lay eggs. So apart from some washing duties, that is the kind of standard morning routine for animal care here on Eiersholt right now, with the new pigs in the game. And obviously we do want to ensure that some of the harvests are kept back so that we can mix feed, particularly for the cows. I think we're pretty much already there with TMR mix. We got about 450,000 liters of silage sitting in a clamp, plus another 150,000 in the other one. We got 850,000 liters of hay, and we still got about 100 bales, and there'll be more coming in obviously during harvest. But we're going to sit down and have a look at this field leasing. We have 278,000 euros right now. So before we go into the leasing, just a quick overview of what we already got here on the farm. These are fields that we bought outright and is ours. For quite some time I have been thinking about I would like to get my hands on field 17 here, but it's €500,000 euros. Sorry, it's showing dollars right now. Strangely enough, you can't save those settings for one game, but it's 520,000. That's quite a bit off what we got right now. But we can now start looking into what it would cost to lease a field. So here we are in the global company setup, and we still have an overview of the map, of course, but we can go in and have a look. So field 17 here is free. As you can see, if we scroll further down, field 30, one of ours, is already marked as sold in this mod. So when I read the original mod description, I thought it looked like it was going to be really expensive. It mentioned 20% of the field value and 3% rate per day. But I think that's for the vanilla game, because if we look at the options for leasing field 17 here with seasons on, 8,675 and 867 per day. That is very, very cheap, actually, I think. So we're going to go ahead with that, because field 17 has already got oat on it. So if we go in and have a look now, you can see now field 17 have turned green. We are leasing. Obviously it's going to cost us about 860 euros a day, but given that we are selling milk, we have a steady cash flow coming in. We've just expanded, so looking at field 17, if I zoom in here, so it's already growing oat, so that's fine. We don't have to put seed in the ground. It'll be a bit late here in summer anyway. And we'll just take a look at what the soil condition is like. So it's a little bit light on fertilizing, but there are no weeds in it, which is good. So I think what we're gonna do to finish off today's episode is we are gonna get hold of our sprayer. We currently have herbicide loaded into the sprayer. We do need to run out to field 15 and cover one middle strip that didn't get done. But that can wait, because now that we have leased field 17, I want to get another layer of fertilizer on there, and we'll get ourselves into right now. There's a car parked behind me somewhere. Can I see that in the mirrors? Oh, just about. That should be enough space for us to turn around here. So Massey is parked up there, and it's only 8:30 in the morning, but we are setting out to a brand new field now. Now obviously strategically it works out quite well to lease a field now that it's all been planted up, but the intention will be to continue leasing it until we buy it, I think. So we will carry on, and we will aim to be farming it over the coming years, or alternatively if we have enough cash to buy it. But I think one of the key benefits of leasing here is that this is going to release some of the money we make from harvest to be able to upscale some of our machinery. I did mention earlier that I think one of the things that would be good to get, we do have 2 combines now, but it would be nice to get some attention to groundwork machinery. So right here on the corner, that should be our new field. And finally, all the way down the other end, into a bit of a dead end here, we got a bit of an entrance right here. Oops, seems like I may have knocked over a road sign. But let's just hop out and have a quick look. This is quite a sizable field. Sorry, I'm still on US measures right now, so acres is about 9 to the hectare, so about 9.5 hectare or something like that. But yeah, oats are looking good, but it is only 33% fertilized, so we are gonna get another layer of fertilizer on here, and it also means that we get to finish today's episode much like we started it, with some spraying, albeit on a completely new field. I think we just got to raise the booms up a bit there, switch the flashers on, and we are basically good to go. So, as we're getting some fertilizer onto this nice new leased field, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing a bit on what's been going on the farm, checking in on the animals, getting a serious amount of hay produced right next to the farm, made it a little bit easier, and of course also replanting the forest. We'll keep an eye on it in coming episodes, but yeah, trees don't grow that quick. So that's it for this episode. Thank you very much from Overclocked Gaming, and see you again soon.